let's continue on with our discussion of Chapter 6. In this part, we will focus on aggravated assault. Obviously, from its name, aggravated assault is more serious than simple assault, and thus it's graded higher. It's typically a felony, and it's going to be punished more severely. Under the Model Penal Code, a person is guilty of aggravated assault if, in Part A, the person attempts to cause serious bodily injury to another, or causes such injury purposely, knowingly, or recklessly, and it's recklessly under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life. So here we have a difference from simple assault in that you are attempting to cause serious bodily injury. So it's an attempt to cause such injury, or you actually cause such injury. So under the simple assault, it was just bodily injury. It wasn't a serious bodily injury. But here, under aggravated assault, you are attempting to cause serious bodily injury, or by acting purposely, knowingly, or recklessly under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to human life, you have caused a serious bodily injury, then you're guilty of aggravated assault. So it's not just ordinary recklessness, but it's the special kind of recklessness that we saw before when we covered homicide. So under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life. The second way you can be guilty of aggravated assault under the Model Penal Code is if you attempt to cause or purposely or knowingly cause bodily injury. So not serious bodily injury, but just bodily injury to another with a deadly weapon. So under simple assault, if you cause bodily injury with a deadly weapon, but you were acting negligently, it was simple assault. Here, if you purposely or knowingly cause bodily injury with a deadly weapon, then you're guilty of aggravated assault. So if you attempt to do that, or you actually do it purposely or knowingly, you're guilty of aggravated assault. So this is an instance where merely causing bodily injury can be aggravated assault if it was caused by a deadly weapon, because there was potential that you could have really done even more serious bodily injury to them. So if you recall from our discussion of simple assault, if you purposely or knowingly cause bodily injury and you don't use a deadly weapon, it's simple assault. But if you use a deadly weapon and you cause that bodily injury, so that scratch or that bruise or whatever minor, relatively minor injury it is, but you used a deadly weapon to cause it, then you're guilty of aggravated assault. So the presence of a deadly weapon in causing a bodily injury upgrades the offense from simple assault to aggravated assault. And you can see that it's a felony of the second degree, but aggravated assault under B is a felony of the third degree. So A is the more serious. You've actually caused serious bodily injury. And that's why it's punished more than Part B, where you've only caused bodily injury. It's still aggravated assault because you used a deadly weapon and things could have been worse. But nonetheless, you didn't actually cause as serious an injury. So when we consider aggravated assault, the important things are, did you use a deadly weapon, and how serious was the injury? If the injury is more serious, then it's likely to be upgraded to aggravated assault. If you used a deadly weapon, unless you were just acting negligently or recklessly, then it's simple assault. But if you acted purposely or knowingly and used deadly weapon, then it's aggravated. Actually, let's go back a slide. I apologize for going ahead. You can glance these over. The first few provisions, some of the provisions are the same as the Model Penal Code. So for instance, in number 1, subsection 1, if you attempt to cause serious bodily injury to another or cause such injury intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, you're guilty of aggravated assault. So that's essentially the same as the Model Penal Code. Again, Pennsylvania uses the word intentionally. The Model Penal Code uses the word purposely. But for all other intents and purposes, it's the same. Under Part 2, you can see that we start to get a little bit more specific. If you attempt to cause or intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause serious bodily injury to any of the officers, agents, employees, or other persons enumerated in subsection C, which if we would turn that, we'd see that it includes law enforcement and other kinds of similar agencies, then you can be guilty of aggravated assault. So it's a special provision. You may say, well, why do we need a different provision? Because it basically sounds the same as number 1, but it just says that there are specific victims, these officers, agents, employees. So why do we even need it? Aren't they covered under number 1, just like the rest of the population? That is true, but if we were to look at the sentencing provisions related to this, we'd see that subsection 2 is punished more harshly. Number 3, this is another special provision, again, dealing with those individuals, but if you intentionally or knowingly cause bodily injury to those agents. So the part 2, it was serious bodily injury. This one is bodily injury. Again, you would have different sentencing. Part 4, you attempt to cause or intentionally or knowingly cause bodily injury to another with a deadly weapon. So that's the same as the Model Penal Code. So if you intentionally or knowingly cause bodily injury to another with a deadly weapon, it's assault. Pennsylvania has some more specific ones, and we're not going to go through them. I mean, you can look at them. Number 5 deals with aggravated assaults against school officials, so school teachers. So for whatever reason, school teachers lobbied the Pennsylvania legislature for greater protection and said, well, we need to classify assaults against us as aggravated assault, and the Pennsylvania legislature complied. And this one again applies to those people, that special class of people like law enforcement and others. If you merely put them in fear of imminent serious bodily injury, it could be aggravated assault. If you use tear or noxious gas, or you use an electric or electronic incapacitation device against any officer, etc., blah, 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 in subsection C, that can be. So again, I'm not going to ask you to memorize these, but Pennsylvania just has some really specific aggravated assault provisions that deal with a certain class of victims, and there's going to be a different sentence that's available in those situations than when you engage in aggravated assault against someone who is just a member of the general public and not a special officer. Pennsylvania does have a couple provisions that deal specifically with children. It is aggravated assault if you attempt to cause or intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause bodily injury to a child less than 6 years of age, and you are more than 18. So it's not another child or even a minor who's even older, but is still a minor, is under the age of 18. So it doesn't apply to them. But if the child is less than 6 years of age and you cause bodily injury, so not serious bodily injury, but if you just cause bodily injury to them and you've acted intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly to cause that bodily injury, you are guilty of aggravated assault. So even if it's just a bruise, even if it's just a cut, if the child is less than 6 years old and you're more than 18 and you intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause that bruise, it's aggravated assault. Normally it would be simple assault, but because of the age of the child, it's aggravated assault. Similarly, if the child is older, then we require not just a showing of bodily injury, but serious bodily injury. So subsection 9, if you attempt to cause or intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause serious bodily injury to a child less than 13 years of age, and you are over 18, then you are guilty of aggravated assault. So if you cause a bruise to a child who's 11 years old, that will not be aggravated assault. It will most likely be simple assault. But if you cause serious bodily injury to a child less than 13 years of age, just like to any other person, it would be aggravated assault. But the difference here is you're going to be sentenced more harshly because it's a child rather than an adult who you're injuring. So if you intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause serious bodily injury to an adult or someone who's over 13, it'll still be aggravated assault, but it won't be punished quite as harshly as causing that same injury to someone who's less than 13